Hello, everybody. My name is Aisha Harley, and I am one of the founders of the Visionary Leaders Collective. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to our podcast. I am joined today by Arin Fugate, Dr. Josie Schmidt, and Ariana Harley, and our Visionary Leaders Collective community. So the first half of this call, we typically focus on an array of wellness topics and solutions using essential oils and medicinal plants. In the second portion of this call, we focus on how to successfully earn additional income by sharing doTERRA. It would be wonderful if you want to visit all of our community offerings. Please visit hellovisionary.life and follow us on Instagram and YouTube. In addition, we would be grateful if you take the time to give us a 5-star rating on this podcast. This helps more folks find us, and so we can further share our wisdom with the world. We have incredible topics each week, so be sure to tune in weekly and share with your friends. And today we are going to be talking about oils to use to support your brain health. But first, Arin is going to show us her personal anointing practice. So please grab your sandalwood, your frankincense, your patchouli, and your melissa. And if you don't have all of those oils, that's perfectly okay. Grab whatever you have. And Arin, I'm going to pass the call on over to you.
Thanks, Aisha, and hello, everybody. So we're talking about brain health today. And for me, brain health is equal parts mental and spiritual. So I wanted to share my anointing practice with you and tell you just a short little bit about anointing and how you can use it. So first of all, we have to look at what the word anoint means. And if you break it down, it actually means to make holy. And I find this very interesting because a lot of our essential oils have the ability to go into our brain and activate a part of our brain called the pineal gland. We'll talk about this more, and on May 8th, Sandra Freeman is going to go into even more detail about this pineal gland. But our pineal gland is also considered the seat of the soul, or the third eye, because it produces these different secretions that can help us remember who we truly are, our connection to God, to the universe, to our higher power, to earth, whatever it is that you believe there. And so there are different essential oils that we can use to really activate that center. And I've picked out these oils all for their ability to do that. So the first thing I do is I take melissa. The practice of anointing really means that you're taking essential oils and you're putting them on your body, anointing yourself, and thinking of that, oh, this is making me holy. And what I feel like that means is this is connecting me to who I truly am, to my divine self. So I take melissa and I put it on my crown chakra, the top of your head. I consider this the oil of light. To me, it is the oil that is perfect for the crown chakra. So you can think of opening up that center, and that center really connects you to your higher power. Then I'm going to take patchouli, and I put a little bit on my thumb, and I'm actually going to anoint the inside of my mouth. So I'm pressing it to the roof of my mouth. Patchouli is particularly wonderful for your brain, and it is definitely a spiritual and magical oil. And then most of you, if you do the daily habits routine, you've already done this, but let's do it again. We're going to put frankincense under our tongue. You can do a drop, or you can press it under your tongue with your thumb like you did the patchouli. And if you're sensitive, like I am, I think many of you are, you can already feel the tingling and the activation happening in your brain. So now we're going to take our sandalwood and do some short breathing with our sandalwood. So put a drop of sandalwood in your hand. It can be thick, so sometimes I have to tap the bottle on my hand to get a drop. I'm going to get comfortable, close my eyes, and start to rub the sandalwood together, which will begin to warm it up. And then I'll bring it to my nose and take a deep inhale. allowing that aroma to travel through your brain. Exhale. And then we're going to do 3 more inhales and exhales of the aroma, all through the nose. And just sit for a moment and feel that altered state of being. All those oils working together to activate you and open up your brain, your third eye, your crown chakra. And slowly, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and absorb all the wonderful information Dr. Josie and our team has for you today. I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Josie.
Thank you, Arin. Oh, that was so juicy, right, everyone? Oh, whenever I put sandalwood on, it's one of those oils that is so long, deeply lingering, and it does not absorb as quickly, and it's just there for the whole day for me. So I absolutely love it. Hey, everyone. So I got to go back in some of our old files and teachings, and we had a really juicy, I like that word, presentation from a long time ago that I used to present to doctors and nurses. And we wanted to bring some of that out because it was all about a lot of the brain. So I'm going to share my screen for the people on the podcast. I will be reading things, but we're also having some visuals. And before we start, should we go into, let me go into, brought this up. Let's see if it gets bigger. There we go. Yay. Before we start, so in 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks from now on May 8th, we're going to go deeper into some of this brain and then that connection of that part of the brain with Sandra Freeman, an intro to the pineal gland. Yeah.
We can't see. It just says, it's just giving us like a really cut off part of your presentation. Do you want me to try and run it?
I don't know why.
I know, it's really weird. I just see like the very, very top of the screen.
Is that better?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry, everyone on the thing. So stop share. If you could, I wasn't able to share my little thing. If you could get Aisha's up that she shared with us.
Yeah.
I can tell you the first slide. Well, I was introducing the call in 2 weeks of the pineal gland, a deep dive with Sandra Freeman. So that's really exciting. And hopefully she'll give us a little bit of tidbits later on in the call. We can talk about it, but we have that slide up for people who can see. So that's going to be wonderful. And then the next slide is slide number 7 on the brain presentation. And this is a introductory, and I wanted to go through it because it's a really wonderful visual and introduction to kind of the science and the medicine of why essential oils are working on our brain and all of the centers in our brain and the how of it. I don't know if Arin,
Arin, I can grab it. Do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, please. I'm not finding it.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, Josie.
So I'll start reading and then everyone can see the visual when it comes up. It's so this is the relationship between olfaction, which is smelling, memory, emotion, and mood. And I would also say our higher centers in our brain that link us into what we would call spiritual. So the limbic system is the part of the brain, it's down there in the lower part of the brain that controls memory, emotions, stress response, breathing, blood pressure, and heart rate. So you can see it's kind of these upper level things of memory and emotions, but then there's this stress response and then very lower level aspects of breathing, blood pressure, heart rate. So when you inhale a fragrance, and especially if it has aromatic compounds the way essential oils do, the molecules travel up the nose to where they are trapped by the olfactory membranes. These membranes consist of 20 million nerve endings. So that is a lot. And each molecule fits like a puzzle piece into specific receptor cells at the sites of this olfactory epithelium or skin tissue. So then there's this right there at the base of the nose, there's this olfactory bulb right where you get through into the brain that transmits impulses to the limbic system of the brain, where sensation, and this is where sensation and our emotional memories are stored. So these are stored in the amygdala and the hippocampus, and they're the first to analyze these nerve messages. And so this is the parts of the brain that are associated with memory, learning, and emotional response. So here's the physiology of how having an essential oil, which is aromatic compounds, you breathe it in, and they're able to immediately go and get taken up by this olfactory bulb, and then able to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is one of the very distinctive things of essential oils and is a difficult thing for any drug or medicine to do, and get right into our brain and our neurochemistry. So this is how essential oils, the physiology of how they actually can shift very, very quickly our mood and our emotions and how we are connecting and relating to things in the moment, because it has this very quick ability to enter into our brain tissues, get absorbed from all of these nerve endings and from these receptor sites, and immediately have effects on our neurochemistry. Aisha, so let's go to, I think it's slide 11 in your brain presentation. No, yeah, you can just go through them. People can get a quick look at this fun presentation of mine. There you go, this one. Balancing neurotransmitters. If people want a serious, heavy hitting, a lot of words kind of presentation in the future, let us know. We can do that. I'm kind of cherry picking here, leaving out some of the heavier science. So I thought this would be interesting to everyone. We used to teach this. We used to teach this kind of stuff in earlier days, that before things called compliance, and this kind of information is now deemed TMI, but I'm going to slip it in here. So there's various science and old herbal knowledge, different sorts of knowledges that are coming in for this list of mine this is my list. I compiled this about, there's different sources as to where we're coming from with this, but these are the essential oils and there's more now, but here's some baseline ones where you can be pretty sure you're going to be getting some effect of balancing and support to these neurotransmitters from these oils. So for dopamine, we would think of clary sage, Roman chamomile, patchouli, rosemary, and jasmine as main oils to be working that neurotransmitter pathway for support and balance. For serotonin, we think of lavender, Roman chamomile, wild orange, marjoram, sandalwood, and intune. That is a blend of doTERRAs. I have a slide on that we're going to quickly go over. And then norepinephrine, I just wanted to put in there, or lovingly known as norepi. This is one of the adrenaline-like hormones and neurotransmitters for calming down the system, and thinking of rosemary and lemongrass. And then overall depression, or we just like to say, sadness. We think of lavender, frankincense, ylang ylang, bergamot, Roman chamomile, basil, And I want to say doTERRA's basil, because doTERRA's basil is chemically very different than most of the basils in the essential oil world. Balance, serenity, elevation, citrus bliss, and all of the citrus oils. But those last four were blends of doTERRA. And I have here this is from the old days, from when we would cite Science Review. Both lavender and sandalwood essential oils have been shown in studies to release serotonin from the ref nucleus. Now, the ref nucleus is the area down here in the lower part of the brain that produces serotonin. So we also have huge production of serotonin in our gut, but the area in the brain that we want to be affecting, the ref nucleus, is for serotonin, I would say production, but also balance. There's studies showing lavender and sandalwood affecting that. Now there's depression studies with basil essential oil normalizing and controlling the brain and neurotransmitter activity. And there's just numerous citrus oils and depression studies about, there's great ones where citrus oils are more effective than antidepressants, but need consistency of application. These studies are done with aromatic. So just someone sitting in a room with a diffuser. So they're continually breathing in those aromatic compounds and having access to the brain chemistry. That is the best way to work with your mental, your mood and all of the neurotransmitters. I see Ariana's talking about adaptive. This was before adaptive. This is old. So let's talk about that afterwards. We can talk about all the newer oils, because this is literally about 9 years old. But it's good, right? We haven't brought up this kind of stuff for a while. So the next one, Aisha, is the frankincense slide. You can just go through it. This is kind of a picture. Here we go. No, the wordy one with Frankie. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up some of the old information about frankincense and its breakdown of its chemical nature. So people, in the early days, we talked all about the sesquiterpenes, which are the more complicated compounds in essential oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier. But in fact, there's almost everything that is a monoterpene, which is most of the broad chemicals we know most probably are very easily passing the blood-brain barrier. And so frankincense is not known for its high sesquiterpenes. It's known for its broad, amazing synergy of complexity of its constituents. And so looking here, we see down below it's only 10% sesquiterpenes that pass into the blood-brain barrier. And there are studies showing that frankincense will oxygenate the brain up to 30%. But you see here, I want to show this 43% A and B pinene. It's alpha and beta pinene. These are underrated. These are probably some of the most important constituents in an essential oil, and 43% is the largest amount and huge. This thing, you see those weird NF-κB, that's NF-kappa beta. This is the main inflammatory mediator in the brain. So when we talk about the gut-brain connection, when we talk about like inflammation in the brain, when we talk about brain fog, when we talk about aging aspects of the brain, perimenopause, menopausal aspects of the brain, feeling worse, not functioning as well. Basically, that is NF-kappa beta, a switch being turned on, and it is it's going rampant in the brain. That's what that is. And so to have something that is so high, almost half of these alpha and beta pinenes that are shown to inhibit NF-kappa beta is huge. I read this is what got me into doTERRA. So part of this is we can read the rest, I'll read them, but my story is 11 years ago, when I was 42, I was already having symptoms of brain fog and my brain not working so wonderful. And I knew that this was NF-kappa beta. I was studying with alternative neurologists about this, and I knew this was a bad sign, and to have it so early. And I was working with what I found to be the top level supplements to help dampen this down, this NF-kappa beta. And I started using trialing frankincense. And for those first 2 weeks, I started putting 2 drops under my tongue, I experienced more brain fog relief from working with the frankincense in that first week, and then in the second week, and then continuing on, and then all of the very expensive top line doctor level supplements I was working with. And this huge literal light bulb went off in my head. And that was the beginning of my journey with doTERRA. So this is a major addition for everybody. Everybody should be working with frankincense. Definitely anyone over 40, 2 drops under the tongue daily, and working it in with a daily routine. So I just loved that study, that they found it to be, I mean, a more effective anticonvulsant agent than phenobarbital. Just take that in, everyone. If you know anyone who has epilepsy and has been on phenobarbital, it's devastating. This is a huge addition to bring into that pharmacy for brain health. Looking at it for its tumor and the other anti-C properties, 16% limonene. You guys can read that. There's, oh, right. Aaron has I'm looking at the chat too. We can talk about David Sterling and the former president of doTERRA, has an incredible story of frankincense with his own daughter with epilepsy. But we know that D-limonene within frankincense is very effective. D-limonene is found to induce apoptosis in cancer cells. So that means they go and die without affecting the healthy cellular population. Did you hear that? Killing off cancer cells without affecting the surrounding healthy cells. D-limonene in frankincense also has been found to inhibit tumor growth and prevent production of adipocytes. What is that? That's fat, y'all. So that's great for us in the menopause areas. And it's we know this, we love to teach about this, has been shown to support levels of intracellular glutathione. What is that? That is our major antioxidant in our body, but we need help to produce it in our body, and that's what the D-limonene is doing. Now, the 5% insensol acetate is an antidepressant. This insensol acetate activates ion channels in the brain to alleviate anxiety and depression. Essential oils that contain this are beneficial in modulating the presence of neurotransmitters that support healthy levels in the brain. Even in the case of head injury, insensol acetate has been shown to reduce neurological damage. So think of frankincense, we already do, but think of it for any kind of brain injury, traumatic brain injury. And we know that 95% of other frankincense on the market is synthetic. When it is synthetic, it will not have any of these medicinal properties. So that's the difference. You say, well, what's the big difference? This is the difference. If you want medicine, you need natural. Synthetic does not do these medicinal effects. Aish, let's go to the next one, which I think I just wanted to remind us. I was reminding myself, seeing this slide, of In Tune. I feel like it's a blend in doTERRA that gets lost. And it's still around. We have it. And this is kind of our big brain blend. In Tune is a heavy hitter of, oh yeah, here's other great. I have patchouli, I have Melissa on here, I have rosemary. Those are all other big brain oils, but we have to go quicker today. We can go, but In Tune, please remember this. So we have 2 different things happening in Tune, because it's helpful in a broad range of helping to balance any kind of mood issues and just help support and soothe the brain. So there's oils there for clarity and focus. So you think of with the kind of attention deficit situations. You have frankincense, sandalwood, and that's the Hawaiian sandalwood, and lime for clarity and focus. And then for calming and soothing, ylang ylang, amris, which is a West Indian sandalwood, patchouli, and Roman chamomile. Gosh, all of these are just super brain oils. Okay. Let me think. Was there one other? I think that those are all the slides I had here in let's open it up with some and chat about some of the stuff that's been in the chat that this is bringing up for everybody. And I know we haven't even touched on the newer oils and MetaPower, which has huge brain focus, right? We love MetaPower so much for its synergy working together with our essential oils. And so just like LLV, you know, where I'm famous for sort of saying the magic happens when you bring cellular nutrition and LLV together with essential oils, which are fit directly into receptor sites and activate our cells, but aren't nutrition. When you bring those together, your body can just go and start doing things it wasn't able to do before, like healing and cleaning things out and all this great stuff. Same thing with MetaPower. MetaPower is nutrients, antioxidants, polyphenols, and this incredible collagen. And then this NMN that is working right to the ATP of our cell, which is that energy place to help our body to then work again in that synergy with the essential oils. So, sorry. What's happening in the chat world?
So great, Dr. Josie. I want to just speak about application.
Yes.
You noticed when we did the anointing practice, sure, that was a spiritual practice, but that's also what you would do for the physical health. You want to get it. So Dr. Hill always taught that pressing to the roof of your mouth was one of the best ways to get it up into the brain. But he also talked about the occipital triangle, which is the back of your neck. You can kind of feel like an indentation there. The jugulars, behind the ears, but also let's remember the reflex points, which would be the big toe, top of the big toe. And I can't remember which finger. Does anybody remember which finger would be the brain? I might have to go look.
I think it's the thumb then.
Probably the thumb. Yeah.
But I don't really use the hand. Yeah, I use the big toe. Yeah, everything you've said.
And then alternate nostril breathing is a really great way to get the aromatic molecules up into your brain. And if you don't know what that is, I think we've done it before, but it's pretty much you would put oil on your hand and then you put a finger here and you're using your thumb on one side and your pointer on the other, and you're actually inhaling the aroma up through one side of the nose so that it can travel up and then down and then up through the other side of the nose. It's a yogic breathing practice. Maybe one of these weeks, Aisha can really run us through it, but that's a great way to get it up into the brain. So I just want to talk about application a little bit.
Thank you, Erin. I know I get it's all, we don't have enough time. Aisha was sort of saying, and I wanted to do a shout out to some of the newer oils in that the science is pretty exciting and huge around the synergy with the constituents in the oils. And so there's a lot behind synergistic effects and what's happening in the brain with frankincense and myrrh together. We also have science showing us that frankincense and sandalwood has amazing synergistic effects together. We also know that frankincense and patchouli have profound effects together. And we know that mixing copaiba together potentiates almost all of the oils in a synergy. It really makes them work better and faster and stronger. So, and then we can't forget turmeric for the brain. So I do blends that I take sublingually and on the top of my mouth. And when I think about a brain blend, sometimes I do all of those: frankincense, myrrh, patchouli, sandalwood, copaiba, and turmeric. And then I also add in yarrow palm right there. That's a lot of oils. You want some synergizers like a citrus or something, you know, some harmonizers in a blend. I don't have a blend. I depending on what's going on, I could add different or other things. but those are oils that you think about adding and working with together. I don't know if you have anything more specific anyone wants to say about those. And those are all oils that you can take internally.
Dr. Josie, I just wanted to quickly share this slide. Only because I think patchouli does not get recognized very much.
Yeah.
People feel like patchouli is the hippie oil and doesn't want to have anything to do with patchouli. Patchouli has a bad rap from the 60s. But would you just talk for a moment about,
Right.
look at the amount of sesoscorpetines.
Yeah, 63, like frankincense only has 10. It has all
Right.
this other, really range of stuff. But patchouli is one of the highest oils in sesquiterpenes at 63%. 24 different kinds of sesquiterpenes. That's also very important. So this is what allows the crossing of the blood-brain barrier and that oxygenation to happen. It's a very effective protector of the central nervous system. Think of it with ADHD, autism, Alzheimer's, stroke recovery. It's also great antifungal and antibacterial, in so many ways. I know early on, we knew somebody with their aging elder parent who had Alzheimer's, who was nonverbal, and they were in a home. And when they would go visit them, the nurses and such forth would not remember, put it on consistently, even though they asked, the diffuser that had just frankincense and patchouli in it. And so she would do that. And after about 10 minutes of sitting with her father, he would be able to start talking.
And this is a really wonderful oil to put the drop on the thumb and press it up to the roof of the mouth. I think it's the favorite application of patchouli. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Back of the neck too.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay, I just thought patchouli deserved a little more attention.
Yes, it does. There's so many. Maybe we'll do this a little. We have really great information also on on turmeric. I think gets a little lost.
Can I talk about the MetaPower oil just for a moment
Yes.
as well? So I wanted to share my personal story, which is actually, it was with Slim and Sassy, but MetaPower is the reformulation of Slim and Sassy. And as Dr. Josie said, frankincense really helped with her brain fog. When I first came into doTERRA, many of you know I had Lyme disease and I had really bad brain fog. At that time, I didn't even know what brain fog was. I didn't even know it was a thing, but I had sluggish brain, couldn't track conversations, couldn't read a page in the book and tell you what I just read, horrible memory, can't remember anybody's name. And it really affected my self-esteem. I really actually thought, I knew I wasn't stupid, but it made me feel stupid. And having that for a long period of time really has an impact on you. And it was actually the Slim and Sassy that really cleared up my brain fog. And even though it has this different assortment of oils in it that are also good for the brain, it also it cleaned up my candida, and it started to promote my gut health.
Mm-hmm.
And your brain health is directly related to your gut health, because your gut is what's creating those needed neurotransmitters. And so if anytime you're working with brain issues, don't forget to address the gut. And the MetaPower oil is like, if somebody has really extreme, like really struggling, I would put them, don't start them here, but I would put them on the full 25 drops a day, like working up to that amount. And also I do want to make a shout out for the MetaPower Advantage. In these last couple of years, have also been struggling with depression, anxiety due to my divorce. And the MetaPower Advantage has really been a product that has really helped stabilize my mental health. And so I just have to mention that because a lot of us are struggling with trauma, mental health issues during this, especially from this last couple of years. So just want to give a shout out to both those products.
And just to piggyback a little bit on the MetaPower oil, we briefly mentioned how phenomenal the citrus oils were for the brain and helping with depression and creating happiness. And then also ginger is in that oil, and ginger is also super high in ascorbutene. So we were talking about those patchouli, and we were talking about some of the other high oils. Ginger is another one. So ginger, I have been even using on my back of my occiput, and I've been putting it on my shoulders. It's really good for muscle pain too. And it's warming. It's been pretty cold where we are. So that MetaPower blend is just really lovely. It's like marketed for other things, but I feel like it could be marketed for a brain blend, which is what's so great about our oils.
Can we turn it over to Sandra for a moment? Sandra Freeman is an incredible healer and a wealth of knowledge, such a gift to our team. And she is going to be speaking on May 8th in more detail about the pineal gland specifically. So I'd just love to hear your comments on this conversation, Sandra.
Well, just briefly, number one, this is thrilling, and I'm looking at the chat, and there's all these people like, we want more. And so I'm begging you to decide, despite the TMI issue, maybe have a private screening or something and let everybody deep dive. I'm just saying. So the thing, and also I want to say about the brain in general, because this is the subject, the topic, is that this is there's new information constantly coming up. And so there's certain aspects. Okay, here's one, and I'm going to cover it a little bit when we do, and it's not a deep dive. If we're going to do the pineal gland in 30 minutes, that is not a deep dive. That is just more detail. It turns out that it was only in 2016 that science recognized there is essentially a type of lymphatic drainage in the brain. And it's got a different name. It's called glymphatic. And it's a thing. And it's very important to the pineal gland and to all of the brain, actually, because there are housekeeping cells inside the brain that have to have the right conditions to work effectively. And so when we think, and I'm just going to say one more thing, and then we'll just forget it until May 8th. As I tried to understand and learn about caring for the pineal gland, I found that I had to really go to places like Ayurveda and other healing systems, and not just allopathic information, to find out the wisdom of how we care for it and for that gland and for the brain in an integrative way. And so I'll be covering a little bit of, I'll talk about what the pineal gland does and how to take care of it. And it's not going to be any surprise to you guys that a lot of it is what we're already doing with nutrition and what we're already doing with the MetaPower system to, if we're focusing on improving our sleep as one of the keys to a better metabolism. That also having sleep and sleep at the right time is essential to supporting the pineal gland. So those are just a couple of teasers. It's not just about how can I use oils to open my third eye. It's a lot broader and more holistic than just that.
Do we have anyone else from the community that has something they'd like to share to this conversation, or a question that you have about this? We would love to hear from you. You can put it in the chat. You can unmute yourself. We know that there's so much wisdom in this community, so please share.
I'd also like to just briefly bring up neuro-inflammation. So with the big virus that's been going around the past 3 years, that has caused a lot of people neuroinflammation, which also can then exacerbate anxiety, depression, and brain fog. And so all of these oils are so phenomenal in so many ways, but like the turmeric, the frankincense, so many of them are anti-inflammatories. And not only is that helping our body, but it's helping our brain inflammation as well, which is something that's starting to be talked about in brain science more now, but is a really fascinating subject to me as well.
Any questions, everyone? Anything that's coming up for you that you would like support with? Requests on directions for us to go, please, Florence.
I'd like to share that about 4 or 5 years ago when I first started with doTERRA, I had a background in aromatherapy, so I knew the oils really well. But as I began working with them at a different level, my memory was not so good about the oils, and I was kind of starting to get very frustrated. And I started in October, and in December, I decided I was going to try the lifelong vitality vitamins. And so I did that. And after about 2 to 3 weeks, I started recognizing that the information that I had stored in my brain about the oils was coming forward. And it was such a game changer for me. So, to this day, I will never go without lifelong vitality. And it was a game changer. And the excitement I felt, because it is my passion to work with the oils, going back into my office where I was working and telling a coworker that, oh my gosh, I remember what this does, and I contributed to being on lifelong vitality. So it's always, always my foundation. Adaptive has been, or not adaptive, but the MetaPower Advantage is just taking it to another level. So I just wanted to share that. The importance of that lifelong vitality is so important.
Florence, thank you for just giving that shout out to both the LLV and Adaptive, because those are also two incredible components. And I think this whole conversation really shows us how it's sort of this whole body approach. And I mean, we talk about the daily habits on an ongoing basis and all of the reasons why all of these things are so important. It's like the LLV for that cellular nutrition, the MetaPower for your metabolic and mitochondrial health, the essential oils that go in and do their magic, and the importance of the small daily habits that we do every single day. And as we know, we can go on and on and on about all of the incredible products that we have for our whole system and for our health and our vitality and our longevity. So this is such an exciting conversation and always just continually lights me up. And it was really fun for Josie and I to pull out that presentation that we created many, many, many years ago, and probably spent literally about 20 to 40 hours creating that presentation, because that's how we used to do things back in the day.
That's great. And so great that you have it in the archives so that we can pull from it. We should definitely revisit more of those good old day presentations.
Definitely.
So how about we talk about how to share this information? Is anybody going through something right now where you're like, oh my gosh, my mom, my dad, I need to talk to my sister about this. My best friend's child is really sad right now. These kids are anxious. Are you starting to think of people that you want to share this with? Okay, so yes, Florence.
I'd like to ask a little bit of advice. I am currently going to meet with somebody on Thursday morning and who's new to oils, and I don't want to fire hose her.
Exactly.
So need some good advice about that.
Yes, let's talk about that. So the first thing is, every one of us should have a system or a tool or a place that we jot down these names when we think of them. So you could have the notes app in your phone. Maybe you have a journal. Maybe you have a spreadsheet. Put in the comments if you already have a system where you keep your lead generation list. If it's just in your brain, that's not going to work. Let's stop that. Okay. I love whiteboards. Whiteboards are one of my favorites because I like to have top of mind what I look like. So what top of mind what I look at, it really helps me to look at it. So right now, put it in the chat. Where are you tracking these names that you're coming up with right now? Because I know everybody's thought of someone. If you have an aging parent, you've probably thought of them already. If you have a friend, you've probably thought of them. So where are you putting it? Elena says spreadsheet. Tara said she's thinking of lots of friends and family. Okay, where are you putting it? I really want to hear from you guys, you gals. Elizabeth's blowing us up with reflexology graphics. That's great, Elizabeth. We'll try and put those in the folder. But I don't want to give you the next bit of information until I know that you have a way that you're tracking your leads. You have contact groups in your phone. Perfect. Tara has her dough planner in her phone. What are some other ways that you track this? Aisha, how do you track your leads?
I use notes in my phone.
Notes in your phone. It's great because our phone is always with us, right? It's a really good place to do it. Here's a little hack that I do. I will often put the word lead in front of the person's name in my phone contacts. That way, if I ever have 5 minutes to do my DMO or to contact and invite, I can just go to the L of my contacts and I see everybody that I'm working with and I can start sending them messages. Okay, so that's, really the first step is you got to have your contact list, your leads, who are you working with? And people take time to what Florence is speaking about. Network marketing is a relationship business. We're in a relationship business. And so we have to build relationship, which means sometimes we're not automatically going and talking to them about oils or MetaPower. Sometimes we're just finding out who they are. We're connecting with them. And that's why you really want to have that list going so you know where people are on the journey of connection. So even though you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, Sally needs frankincense for her brain, Sally may or may not want any solution for her brain. We don't know. And so we can't go to Sally and say, you need frankincense, because that's us asserting our desires onto Sally. But if we go to Sally and we ask her questions about what's going on with her brain, especially if she's already talked to us about it, if we've already had these conversations with her where she has said, I'm really frustrated because of this brain fog. Maybe she said, I had COVID last year, and ever since I had COVID, my brain's just not working the same way. Maybe she's going through menopause and she's told you how frustrating it is that she's losing her keys all the time. So if we've already had that conversation with Sally, it's easier for us to go back and revisit and say, how's everything going with your brain stuff? You told me that you're really struggling since COVID. Is it still bad? What have you tried? What's happening? We just start a conversation. Once we get her talking about it and she is saying, yeah, I'm struggling. I'm forgetting things. I'm forgetting appointments. I always lose my keys. Then we can say, I have something that might be helpful. Would you like to learn about it? And I would write that statement down. That's such a good question. I have something that might be helpful. Would you like to learn about it? And this is called permission-based languaging. And it's really important that we wait for her answer. She will say something like, yes, tell me about it. Usually people, like, if you have a solution and they've just told you that they have this struggle and you come in and you go, I have a solution, They're usually like, yes, please tell me about it. They might say, what is it? And that's still them moving towards you. They might say, you know what? No, I've had enough of health advice. I'm working with my doctor. I don't want to talk to you about this. And then you respect that and you go, okay, no problem. You can leave the door open by saying something like, if you ever change your mind, let me know. But if you get a yes, a leaning in, right? If they're like, tell me more, what is it? Of course I want to know. This is when I think third-party resources work really well. And we have now, I don't know if you all know this, but we now have short sizzle videos, not only for MetaPower, but we have it for essential oils and we have it for Lifelong Vitality Pack. So you could decide which entry point you think that they would best fit in. And so you might say, okay, well, I have a very short video. By the way, all these videos are on our YouTube channel. There's a playlist that says MetaPower videos for the new customer. They're all there, or they're on our Hello Visionary website. So you might think, okay, she's struggling with brain health. Dr. Josie has said many times that Lifelong Vitality Pack is the foundation. I think I want to share Lifelong Vitality Pack with her. So you would say to her, well, I have a short video about this incredible supplement system I have been using, and I have found that it has really improved my brain health. If I send it to you, would you take a listen? And then again, you're getting permission, right? And when she says yes, you send her the video. Now you have to make sure that you follow up with her in a few days. It's also a really good idea to have some kind of agreement that she's going to watch the video by a certain day. I like to say something like, okay, if I send you the video, can I check back with you in 24 hours? Will you have watched it? And she'll be like, yeah. Or she might say, no, I need more time. So you're following up with her and you're just asking, what did you think of the video? What thoughts came to mind? And from there, you're finding out her interest level. If she is super interested and she's like, yes, I need these supplements, tell me about these supplements, then you make her a link generator and you sign her up with the supplements. And from there, you can then introduce her to the oils and the MetaPower, and you can take that in a processed way. With some people, you might feel like you want to send them this video, right? You just got off this video. It was really exciting. It's a bit meatier, because it's a 45 minutes that we talked about the brain. So I wouldn't do that with every single person. You have to know your person. Some people are learners. Some people want that. But a lot of people have very short attention spans. They're being bombarded with a lot of information. They may not be able to take in a 45-minute presentation. That's where those sizzle videos come into place. And I have found, since I've really been leaning into this video method, that it's great. It's so great. I really want to hear other people that have been using it, but I can this is my kind of process. So you all know, is I'm very active on social media. I always have been. I'm very open about my life on social media. I share what's going on in my life. I post on my channels every single day, whether you're following me on Instagram or Facebook, or I'm even over on TikTok. I don't post about my product. You will not see me post a picture of the LLV supplements and be like, doTERRA's supplements, this is great. I don't do that, but I will tell stories. So I story sell. So I might tell the story of how many years ago, I couldn't walk more than a city block without being in extreme pain. And then I started this incredible supplement. And within a couple of weeks, not only could I walk, but I went down a shoe size from the inflammation. And that'll be my post, right? And people will start messaging me. They'll be like, what supplement is that? What did you take? I want to learn more. So that's my entry point to then send them the video. And I have found this to be so fabulous for my business. It's the main way I sign people up these days, whether I'm talking about MetaPower, the oils, the LLV, I'm using that sizzle video. So has anybody else had some experiences with the sizzle videos or questions about the sizzle videos and how you could use them with this particular subject and the names that you thought of?
I was just thinking, for you, Florence, have you thought about sharing the sizzle videos? Because you were talking about not wanting to fire hose the person. So I was just curious. I think that would be a really great way, such a short video where you can get so much information.
Yes, I will practice because I'm a little bit computer technology challenged sometimes. So I would need to practice it before, find it and know that I have it, and then I could take it to her. This woman in particular has precancerous on her face. And so she has addressed a health issue that she wants to address. So I do have a little bit of background there.
I love what you're bringing up, Florence, and this might be helpful for everyone. And I could write something for you all and share it. What I have is I have a pre-written out script saved in my notes. So I can just copy and paste what I say to people when I send them the sizzle video. So you might want that in your own words. I could also write something up for all of you, but if you just have it in your notes and it already has the links so that you can just copy and paste and send it off to someone, that might be helpful.
Yeah, I think definitely having the link saved. I love that idea with what you say, Erin, and then you could always adjust it because then you're not looking for those videos right on the fly all the time. You have them just right there to send someone. And Marilyn's asking, are the sizzle videos from doTERRA?
No, they were created by my friends, Erin and Amanda Pitt, and they are excellent, excellent, excellent. So we also use them in our Wellness Simplified Facebook group. You can get them on the YouTube or our website, or they're all pinned to the top of the Wellness Simplified Facebook group. So that's another way to send it to people, to add them to the Facebook group and tag them in that video. But I think it's great to just do private messaging is wonderful too. Any other comments in our last minute or questions? Okay, wait, we have a question by Marilyn.
There's also a question, Erin, from Helena, but these are more about specific protocols for specific situations that people are dealing with.
I answered Helena in the chat.
Oh, great. I missed that. Thanks, Josie.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Josie.
Yeah.
I also wanted to add, it's Helena here. Lately, because of a full-time job that I did have, and I ended up leaving it today due to the fact I was surrounded by toxic chemicals. And so my body couldn't handle it as autoimmune. I had Graves' disease, now eczema and psoriasis. So patchouli, wow, on the skin on my neck was amazing. It just calmed me down so much. I just wanted to share that. Yay.
Oh, wonderful, Helena. Yeah, I love for topical healing of any kind of scar, wound, skin thing. Immortella is always my favorite blend. It's in a roller bottle for topical use, and it's so many of the oils we have mentioned today. It is frankincense, sandalwood, myrrh, helichrysum, lavender, and rose. So, and then I like to do it together in it for, especially for healing skin things, with yarrow palm. And I roll the Immortelle on my fingertips. I'll squirt some yarrow palm and I'll glue it together and work it into the area, or you can apply them directly on the area.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then when I applied patchouli, you know, it is
Yeah, and
powerful.
patchouli is
It
great.
is powerful
Look at that.
and potent. I was like, people were complaining I was smelling musty. I'm like, I don't care.
Helena, my sweetheart, his favorite oil is patchouli, and he has a lot of trauma from childhood, and it really, whenever he is getting triggered, I go grab the patchouli for him and just start putting it on him, and I can just watch his nervous system calm down. But yes, it's a very musty smell. So he actually got kicked out of a place because the guy was like, "You smell like patchouli." So one option that you can do, I know you're using it for skin stuff, but on the bottoms of the feet, if it's a oil that you're like, oh, people are having a reaction to the strong smell, sometimes I'll use it on my feet in that case. But he also is like, I don't care. It helps me so much that he's just like, I'm gonna wear it. So
Thank you, Ariana.
All right.
I think that brings us to a close. Amy, did you want to say something, Josie, to close us?
No, I think it's been a wonderful call. Thank you, everybody.
And remember to go to our website. And if you're not signed up for our weekly email, get signed up, because we send out some of the protocols that we talked about. And this week, I put the pineal gland activation one in there, and we'll put the PDF from the brain presentation. So you're going to want to get on the email list if you are not on it. hellovisionary.life, and it'll pop up and ask you to put your email in. So have a great day, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.